What's the smallest lie you've ever told which had the biggest consequences? Story 1. Once when I was around 6 or 7, my mom brought home some delicious chocolate and gave some to me. I loved this stuff and stole the bar that she had saved for my stepdad. He comes home and my mom can't find the chocolate. She asks what happened to it and I blame Duncan, our dog, knowing that he often eats things off the counter. I didn't know at the time that chocolate was toxic for dogs. My mom goes terribly pale, and she rushes Duncan to the vet, and he has to throw up. I felt terrible about this, as I thought it was because he stole the chocolate and was some form of punishment. The next day, she brings home more chocolate. Nobody told me that it was for Duncan's own good that he was taken to the vet. So, feeling bad about doing this to Duncan, I gave him my chocolate this time, thinking he deserved it after taking one for the team last time. Later that night, my mom asked me how the chocolate was. This time, I decided to tell the full truth and explain that I gave the chocolate to Duncan this time, as I felt bad for getting him in trouble the first time. So, another late night trip to the vet, and I was finally told that chocolate is toxic for dogs. Duncan was fine in the end, and for the rest of his life, I snuck him meat and other things that would not kill him. Now the twist is that the very expensive vet trips cost a lot of money, which prompted my mom to take a look at our expenses. She found that my then stepdad was hiding an affair and then got a divorce. TLDR, I lied about our dog almost dying, then almost killed him on accident, causing my mom to get divorced. Story 2. My first year walking to school alone was the 7th grade and I was late a lot. It got to a point that the teacher told me I would have to do all the day's chores, putting chairs down in the morning, wiping boards, cleaning after lunch, etc., if I was late again. Well, the next day I was running late as usual. Being a lazy SOB, I knew that I had to do something to get out of doing the daily chores. So when the teacher asked me why I was late, I thought back on the assembly we had a few weeks prior on school safety. So I told the teacher that a strange man pulled up to me when I was coming into school grounds and asked me to come with him to see some puppies. I honestly thought that it would be a good enough excuse and this would be the end of it. Nope. School was suspended for the rest of the day, police were called, my parents were called in, and I was interviewed for the entire day. I had to describe the man, the car, everything. They ended up hiring a security officer for the grounds because of that incident and put in a few new cameras. We had monthly school assemblies because of it too. And it was all for nothing, because less than a week later, I was late again and had to do all the daily chores. Story 3. I walked in on my friend finishing a conversation on her phone. She looked at me, petrified, and asked if I heard anything. I told her with a defeated face, yes. She starts crying and leans on me, telling me she is so afraid and doesn't know what to do. I did this initially as a joke, but obviously I'm in deep water now, so I just tell her everything will be fine and to call me whenever she needs me. Turns out, she got pregnant and asked me to go to an abortion clinic with her. Her boyfriend screamed. We are best friends now. Story 4. I've told this story before, but during my undergrad, I took a number of business courses. During one of these courses, we were learning about a small company that produced high-end jam. The professor asked the class what we thought of high-end jam as a business. I said that it was a stupid idea. Why would I pay $20 for a bottle of jam when I could make it myself? I meant that as a rhetorical question, but apparently my professor took it literally. When I was packing up at the end of class, the professor came over to me and started asking me all sorts of questions about jam making. So I rolled with it. I lied and told him how my grandmother taught me how to make jam, when the right time to pick the berries was to ensure optimal jam, etc. I don't know how to make jam. I had no idea what I was saying, but the professor bought it. We became buds. After every class, we would chat, mostly about jam. He wrote my reference letter to get into my competitive undergrad program and again when I applied for my master's. I owe most of my academic career to jam. Story 5. In college, the girls in the apartment downstairs asked my roommate and I if we'd like to join them at a concert a month away. Neither of us wanted to, and my quick-thinking roommate said that date is my birthday. It wasn't, and that we have other plans. They ended up not going to the concert, and we had forgotten about it. But on that date, they called me downstairs to help them move something. I walk in the door, and surprise! A birthday party for me with about 15 people there. My roommate was just as surprised. I couldn't tell them the truth and just went with it. Even got a couple of small gifts. I always felt guilty about it. Story 6. I was at a job fair, against my will, was trying to steal a pen so I could retire to a dark corner and doodle while everyone else did their thing. The lady caught me taking a pen, and I had to act interested in her sales pitch. Then a news reporter showed up. Before I knew it, I was in national papers as a general human interest story, as a turnaround miracle story, of how I'd come all the way from the barren plains of another country far away, while kicking mental illness and addiction, and now wanted to become a nurse. I don't, nor have I ever, wanted to be a nurse, but that interview sure snowballed all out of proportion. All I wanted was a free pen. It's been 10 years, and people are still asking how the nursing career is going. Story 7. My girlfriend and I used to buy milk at the 7-Eleven across the street from our apartment because for whatever reason, their gallons of 1% were always $1 cheaper than the grocery store. Reza, the young Middle Eastern guy who managed the store, got to know us fairly well, in that we would always greet each other, and occasionally, if he saw their stocks of 1% gallons running low, he would stock one in the back for us because he knew we would always come in at like 2 p.m. every Sunday for milk. Really nice guy. The week before we took a vacation, the girlfriend was studying her ass off for an exam, so I did the grocery shopping alone. Because we were leaving midweek for our trip, I only bought 1/2 gallon of milk. Of fucking course, Riza assumes the worst. He assumes that we've broken up. He asked where she was, and I just kind of grumbled, ready to launch into explaining how her test was tomorrow and whatnot, but before I could, he just launched into this whole big apology like he didn't realize, and how he had just got divorced and how he misses her every day. I just didn't have the heart to tell him that she was just busy today, and that we were leaving for the week, so I just went with it. I didn't want my girlfriend to think I was a shitbird, so I neglected to tell her when I got home. 2 weeks later, coincidentally, the girlfriend is busy working a weekend shift to make up for a week off. I go back in, grab a gallon of 1%, and quickly realize that looks bad. So I turn around, put the gallon back, and grab the 1/2 gallon. The whole time Riza is watching me dejectedly. He starts telling me it gets better, hang in there, we can grab coffee if I want to talk. I politely decline, and quickly realize this lie is going to spiral out of control real fast. I think I told the girlfriend that they were out of gallons and Riza didn't save us one this week. In the ensuing weeks, I proceeded to make all efforts to buy milk when the girlfriend wasn't around. She still didn't know. I decided to start working out, so I was able to justify to Riza the purchase of the gallon of 1%. We would normally chat for a few minutes, and we would ask each other how things were, and we would both give vague answers and wish each other well and be on our way. Eventually, one day the girlfriend goes to 7-Eleven on her own when I wasn't around. I guess Riza helped her, made small talk, but definitely was weird towards her. She texted me about it, and at this point, I knew the jig was up, and I had to come clean. When I got home, I explained everything to her, and she laughs, calls me an idiot, but at the same time thought it was cute for me to keep up the facade and commiserate with Riza, who was clearly dealing with some of his own issues. She decided that we needed to stage a reunion, so the following Sunday we waltzed in, arm in arm, looking cheery. We could always feel his eyes following us around the room. I made eye contact with him once or twice. He was trying desperately and failing to hold back the biggest knowing grin I'd ever seen. Finally, we go to check out, and he starts wringing his hands and finally bursts out about how he was rooting for us and how happy he was that it worked out. The look of excitement and happiness on Riza's face was probably one of the most uplifting moments I've ever had. He told us repeatedly how we give him hope and how not the whole world is evil. Holy crap. Glad we could help you, Riza. Sorry I lied about the milk.